The wild man knew no gentleness. Every night he would force himself on the princess. After just half a month, the princess was suffering terribly, until this day. She suddenly heard sounds outside, so hurried out to look. On the opposite cliff, a woman gathering herbs had arrived. This made the princess suddenly excited. She quickly called out loudly for help, saying she'd been captured by the wild man. If the woman would help her escape, all the gold and jewels in the palace would be hers. Looking at the deep canyon before them, the woman said she had no way to help. The princess's heart half sank. She could only beg the person to think harder. Finally, the woman, seeing how pitiful she was, promised to bring her son tomorrow to help. The next day, the princess eagerly began her escape. While the wild man was focused on processing his prey, she secretly came to the cliff edge. Yesterday's woman truly hadn't lied. Not only did she come, she brought a young man. After the boy reached the princess, without a word he hoisted her onto his shoulder, then stepping on a wire, carefully made his way to the other side. But just then, the wild man suddenly smelled strangers, so he rushed outside, just in time to see his woman being taken away. Angry, he jumped right off the cliff, grabbing the rope to chase after them. The princess was immediately terrified. Fortunately, the boy moved quickly, reaching the other side first. The others, seeing the wild man about to catch up, desperately hacked at the rope. After great effort, the rope was finally cut. The wild man fell down the cliff. Then the princess got in the carriage with his family. Everyone chatted and laughed along the way, very happy. As they were about to reach the palace, unexpectedly the wild man suddenly yanked open the door, then started fighting with several people. The princess in panic pulled out a knife to protect herself, but this only made the wild man angrier, so he held nothing back, brutally ended the lives of the boy's father and brother. The remaining three, seeing this, desperately fled, but they just hidden behind a rock. When the wild man tracked them by scent, everyone was immediately shaking with fear. The boy could only take a big gulp of liquor for courage, but the smell of alcohol let the wild man find them. Soon the wild man charged over. The boy, seeing this, sprayed alcohol on the wild man, then lit a torch and blew fire at him. The wild man screamed as he burned, but the next second, he actually endured the pain and patted out the flames, then pinned the mother and son to the ground, and ended their lives. Facing such a fierce wild man, the princess could only run desperately forward, but she forgot in these deep mountains, the wild man's nose was better than GPS. A couple sniffs and he could find where she was. Now trapped in a dead end, the princess knew she couldn't escape anymore, so she tried to pretend submission to calm the wild man, but unexpectedly, the disfigured wild man wouldn't listen. He slammed her hard to the ground. Clearly the wild man wanted to end her life. Knowing this, the princess quickly begged through tears, and promised the wild man she'd definitely obey from now on. Feeling love again, the wild man softened and spared her, even thoughtfully prepared to carry the princess back. But the princess, when he wasn't looking, pulled out a blade and slashed his throat. The wild man struggled for a moment, then stopped breathing completely. Meanwhile, the king, since marrying his daughter to the wild man, felt terribly regretful, soon became too ill to leave his bed. Then suddenly, hearing the princess had returned, joyfully he immediately got up from bed. But when he came to the palace hall, he saw his daughter covered in blood, holding the wild man's head in her hand.
Here is the husband you chose for me.
The king immediately felt terribly guilty, so to make amends to his daughter, he passed the throne to her on the spot. As the princess put on the crown, becoming queen, she could finally control her own destiny, and following her gaze, the circus was performing for her coronation. Walking the tightrope, this time, it was the queen's turn to protect that unsteady knight.